Hello everyone. I'm very excited. I got a gimbal. The gimbal does video stabilization. So you see how I'm like walking down the street and it's not shaking? It's because I have a contraption that makes it not do that. So that's exciting. So today, long awaited, women's sex and the true expression of the beloved is the note that I had for this one. I don't particularly remember exactly what I was going to talk about, but there is this expression that wants to come through. I do remember talking on my last video of women in their true expression sexually. When a woman is having sex, it might be like really out and expressive, or it might be completely silent. And how our conditioning for women today is a lot of influenced by porn, and there's a lot of like, oh, I have to express myself in a certain way so that like he knows that I'm enjoying it. And it's like when in unity consciousness, right, when we're sharing the same consciousness, sex is a vulnerable thing to talk about. So when we're in unity consciousness, we can feel each other. There's two women walking by. Hello. Talking about sex with people in public is a little awkward, more vulnerable. Okay, so where were we? Having sex with a woman in unity consciousness as a man, I know like what she's feeling, because it's the relationship, because we have the shared consciousness, because the relationship is that consciousness, is that shared feeling, is that movement. And so I also know, I also know when she's faking it, and I know for the most part, you know, I'm not gonna claim that I've never been fooled before, but I do know when a woman is like either disconnected or not out of it, because literally like my penis won't get hard, my cock won't get hard. It will literally, I will get soft when a woman isn't connected to me, because I'm like, there's no eros, there's nothing happening here. And I think, I have no way to prove this, but I think like the mass amount of erectile dysfunction that's happening in men has nothing to do with our bodies, but is entirely because the large majority of sex we have is disconnected sex. And so as women, like the actual thing that a sacred man wants is your real expression, is this expression of Sophia, of the Christ within you through sexuality. And that can look like whatever that expression is. It's not gonna, maybe it looks like porn, it probably won't. I know I have played a game with a few women in the bedroom where I tell them like they're not allowed to make any movements or any sounds. Specifically for women who I can tell are like acting, like pretending and acting out for my benefit. And it's like, no, what I want you to do is just sit there and do your best not to make any sounds and not to move, which is, as a man, is vulnerable, because you want, as men, we want our women to be enjoying the process. And what happens, of course, is in this actual process of surrender, at first she's not doing anything, but as the expression, by giving her permission not to do anything, her actual expression will allow itself to come out. For men, it's really important in connected sex and holy sex and sacred sex that you're not in your head trying to figure out what to do, because if you're in your head, this was a big awakening for me. All of my sex up to 2 years ago, I was constantly in my head and always thinking, okay, what's like the next right move? Like, what's the thing that I need to be doing? And there was a moment I had with a woman, the clouds cleared away, and all of a sudden I could actually see that there was this woman in front of me. I let go of all the thoughts that were keeping me from her and keeping me from actual true consciousness and the expression of consciousness through me. If you want to practice this, with your partner or partners, again, the practice for men would be, one, being in your body, like being in consciousness, being in the relationship, being in the shared consciousness, which means being in your feelings and feeling what's going on and trusting that the thing that you are feeling is the thing that she is feeling. It takes a lot of trust until you really, if you're not used to this practice, it takes a whole bunch of trust to be like, wait, is this the right feeling? Is this the right thing? And as you meditate and as you practice, it becomes easier and easier and easier. And then for women, it's really like, okay, how does the expression want to move through me? Very much surrendering to whatever happens is beautiful and okay and amazing and wonderful, and he will enjoy your expression, trusting that he's going to enjoy your expression, whatever that expression is, as long as it's true. Because ultimately, what we're really looking for is that connection and is that spark of Sophia within us. We're looking for that connection to self and connection to consciousness and connection to source with one another, because we want to know the self and we want to know all aspects of the self, even including the aspects which are in our mirror in our partners. And so for women, this practice, really for both, all practice comes back to feeling. Ultimately, all practice, no matter what you're doing, comes back to feeling. And so for women, it's really just about feeling and being connected in your body and being connected to him and being willing to express your love, right? Women so much hold back, withhold and hold back their expression and their sexuality and their love. And so actually being not necessarily the instigator, that there's a way that you can be kissed and be penetrated and be in that feminine position while also fully expressing yourself. And it's like his movement moves through you and back into him. And it's that cycle that we're looking for, that you can actually work the energy in a loop, that he is feeding himself into you, and then that movement is going through you and then expressing itself through your love for him, and then you're giving your love back to him. And so it creates this loop in the sexual energetic cycle, which is the actual how Eros is generated and how you know you're in connection, because you'll feel it. You'll actually feel the arrows running through your, you'll feel it. You'll feel the arrows running through your system. This is where when we think of something that is really hot or really sexy, we actually feel that like dropped in, turned on connection with someone. Like that's Eros, and it's because of this cycle is happening. Cool, that's it for this topic. There's so much more. I'm really excited about just growing union news related to this thing. There's a practice that I have discovered, has revealed itself to me, that this practice of allowing love, allowing Eros, of allowing Sophia, of allowing the beloved, which are all the same thing, to move through you and express itself. There's this spiritual practice, meditative practice that I've created that I'm going to be teaching. I'm really, really excited about it. I had this here for 3 years, and it's finally like, oh, here's what it actually is. Like I had the general idea, but I didn't have the way to teach it. And now I do, and it's amazing. And this expression of the beloved as the feminine practice, even though I don't really want to, one of the things we're trying to do is get away from the words feminine and masculine, because if you think feminine practice, it's like, oh, the feminine practice is for women. Whereas the beloved practice, we are all the beloved, and the beloved practice is for all of us. And so equality is the word that comes up, because men need the practice too. Men need the beloved practice too, in order to be in relationship at all, in order to be in Eros and be able to feel what's happening. And then also to be able, for both sexes, to become the lover, which is the old school masculine idea. Anyway, that's all. It's all coming through. It's all going to be amazing. If you want to hear, like, keep updates for that, you know what to do. Subscribe, like, check Growing It Out on Instagram and Twitter, and the Discord. Join the Discord if you want. If you really want, you're like, yo, do that thing is the dopest. I'm really excited about that. Join the Discord. We're going to be figuring out some way to put that through there. And the band's coming together. That's exciting. What up? Okay. Bye.